We have the Black Panthers
how does that impact
in San Francisco.
You? How does that impact you?
Well, I'm saying there's a history. I'm trying to establish a link here.
No, but I think, again, that you're trained to do this in the college. It has no bearing on whether or not you can make good decisions or not.
Well,
right?
College has no impetus on my thinking. This is organic.
I know, but I reject the whole premise. You are not a creature or a victim of what happened 104 years ago. You're your own being with your own agency, your own ability to make decisions of right or wrong.
And I agree to not subscribing to a victim mentality and taking accountability for your actions.
I don't think any of that plays into your current status.
You don't think so at all?
No.
Can you list more reasons as to why?
Yeah, the number one problem with Black America is the fact that dads are not around. Not the fact that
and that's enforced by the government.
No, it's not.
Hey fam, we are back again with another video from Charlie Kirk, and you know we highly love how Charlie Kirk is always, I love the way he debates and his arguments is always valid. Today we'll be doing a reaction to this video in which an indoctrinated black student almost crashed out after hearing the facts from Charlie Kirk. So we want to see this video, let's go right to it.
All right, you seem pretty educated on foreign and domestic policies. I'll try not to. You seem pretty educated on foreign and domestic policies. What's your take on rectifying the homeless crisis in LA as far as it goes with Karen Bass and Governor Newsom coming from, you know, San Francisco and such? What can we do moving forward? Is DEI the next way to fix these programs, allocating these funds, figuring out what the council members are doing? Where should we go with this? What's the next step for Californians and locals?
It's very simple. When Xi Jinping visited San Francisco, all the streets were cleaned up and it looked like Singapore and there were no more homeless. We can solve the homelessness problem overnight.
That's correct.
If we choose to do it. But your leaders are choosing not to clean up the streets. It takes the will. Every homeless person should be given a place in a shelter, should be given 3 meals a day. They should be given a shower, but they should never be given license to stay on the streets. The streets are not their home. You clean up the streets and you give them the help they need. Period. End of story.
Another big YouTuber, Channel 5, Brandon Cunningham, does a lot of hit pieces on San Francisco's homelessness crisis and how bad the issue is. There's a lot of programs that don't work because it's enforced by the city. They hand out needles, they hand out kits.
Correct.
So what can you do to stop that? That's obviously for the harm.
Democrats.
Yeah. So this local election, right? For the local election, a lot of people didn't turn out for the election. How can we increase the voter turnout to change those?
I mean, it's as insofar that people want to keep on living in this hellscape, then you will.
Yeah.
But you do not have to have the homelessness problem. You do not have to have the crime problem. It is a casualty of choice. It is a choice to have the streets the way they are. And as long as people don't show up, I guess they don't care enough.
Hey, we had a conversation earlier,
make it quick, because I don't like to do repeats. But
well, absolutely. Well, I'm talking about a different topic this time. You made some interesting points. You made some interesting points about the crime statistics in the African American community. You think crime and poverty are intrinsically linked?
Not always, but they could be directionally close to each other. For example, poor Asians are not necessarily more likely to commit crimes than a poor black person.
Okay. Do you think there's systematic functions in place that prevent African Americans from moving upward?
No, does not exist.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think they've ever enforced any policies or any actions?
Maybe 40 or 50 years ago, but nothing in our lifetime, not even close.
I would say in our lifetime, right? Within our
That's a big deal, though,
last
right?
20 decades, our last 2 decades, right? We've had a lot of opportunities for upward mobility, right?
And for whatever reason,
but at a systemic level,
hasn't worked.
But at a systemic level, there's a history of prejudice within the American system against African Americans and black people.
But there's also historic systemic bias against Asian Americans and Jews. It hasn't held them back.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about them.
No,
right?
but it's important to compare. Why is it that it held blacks back but not Asians or Jews?
So I'll answer that. So Jews, well, let me speak about Asians. As a model minority, right? They've had more opportunities for upward mobility.
How?
Well, in terms of getting business loans, setting up in different neighborhoods.
Well, there was a lot more anti-Asian discrimination in California than anti-black discrimination in the 40s and 50s.
So you agree 100% that African Americans have getting the same opportunities?
No, I'm not. Look,
as far as redlining goes,
groups are sometimes treated poorly. Whether or not you're able to overcome that is the question. Number two.
So treated poorly doesn't cover it. I have a couple things. I have a couple lines right here. So we have the Tulsa Massacre of 1921, right?
Yeah,
where African Americans established a black well, they established a black Wall Street, right? And that was taken down. We have the Black Panthers in San Francisco.
How does that impact you?
Well, I'm saying there's a history. I'm trying to establish a link here.
No, but I think, again, that you're trained to do this in the college. It has no bearing on whether or not you can make good decisions or not.
True. Well, college has no impetus on my thinking. This is
no,
organic.
I know, but I reject the whole premise. You are not a creature or a victim of what happened 104 years ago. You're your own being with your own agency, your own ability to make decisions of right or wrong.
And I agree to not subscribing to a victim mentality and taking accountability for your actions.
I don't think any of that plays into your current status.
You don't think so at all?
No.
Can you list more reasons as to why?
Yeah, the number one problem with Black America is the fact that dads are not around. Not the fact that
and that's enforced by the government.
No, it's not.
Different. I would say on an individual basis, there's different programs that stop.
Two out of three Black youth did not have a dad around.
Yeah, there's a crack epidemic. CIA moved crack into the hood. We went into different hoods in the Los Angeles community.
Yeah, but you have to still choose to do drugs. So, like, the point is you're a victim of your choices, not your circumstances. That's what makes us conservatives
I think you're removing culpability from people, but I agree with the accountability.
We believe choices are what determine what you're in, not what's around you.
Yeah,
so,
your choices inform your environment and your outcomes. I agree with that.
Yeah, so then if people choose to do crack cocaine and therefore your kids don't have a dad around, that's your own choice. If you choose to commit crimes and you're in prison, that's your own choice.
Yeah,
but no other community has had this problem. Why is Black America have this problem?
I think there's a direct link between the prison industrial complex and incarceration.
Well, but how does one get to prison?
And the profiling African Americans.
Well, hold on. But first of all, it's not a profiling when it comes to that. Blacks are far more likely to commit crimes than any other group associated. It's like 3 to 4 times more likely. It's not even close. So how is that?
Well, I'm not here to debate numbers because I don't have the numbers with
It's
me.
okay. When you get home, you can look at it. Black Americans are 13% of the population. They commit 55% of the violent crime.
A statistic I've heard before.
Right.
Again, I don't have the numbers to
It's fine.
counter.
You could independently fact check it later. I don't anticipate you to have it off the top of your head. But why is that?
I don't have a direct answer.
I know. That's what I want you to think about it. And I'm not going to put you on the spot. Here's our answer. It's easy and tempting to say systemic racism, redlining, right? All that. Or you could say, maybe it's because dads aren't around, because dads being with their equivalent others or spouses is not a value in the Black community anymore. It's acceptable to have men impregnate women and flee. It's not a cultural expectation.
I think our cultural expectation is for African Americans to stand with their families and increase, because there's a lot of evidence that shows when 2 parents are present in a household, they have a higher chance of their children succeeding.
I agree. Then why does that happen?
Upward.
So why don't Black dads stay around?
I think that's a progression in our community. I think that's a progression.
But why is
I'm
that
saying
happen?
that the reason that we're here is there's a lot of factors that led us to this point.
I don't but it's a decision that a Black man can make. He's impregnated a woman, so he's not in jail. So he's like a free citizen. Why not stay with that woman and start a family?
And I'd say for the most part,
66% of the time,
we're moving in that direction.
It's getting worse, not better, actually.
True.
The single fatherhood rate is getting worse in Black America.
It's crazy.
It was 25% in 1965. It was 50% in 1980. It's 75% in certain cities now. It's beyond comprehension. It's like the worst of the industrialized world. And there's only one explanation. It's that it's not a cultural value in Black America right now.
I think we have to disagree. I think it is a cultural value moving forward, and I think it has been a cultural value. And I think post-civil rights movements, especially during the civil rights movement, that was a major impetus. That was a major focus of the Black community, and that's how we got through that movement.
You know, Black America,
that structure and that family unit.
Black America's actually gotten poorer since the Civil Rights Act?
Well, yes, I understand
Why?
that. I don't have an answer for that.
It's okay. Think about it. And I'm not saying it's one or the other, but the Civil Rights Act is revered as this amazing thing, but Black America is actually poorer, more likely to commit crimes, in more poverty than it was before the Civil Rights Act. There's a lot of explanations. Thomas Sowell's written entire books about this.
And I've read on Thomas Sowell.
Good. And I want you to keep reading Thomas Sowell because he'll push your boundaries and he's phenomenal. Here's our belief system. The most important thing is dads in the home. If you do not have 2 parents around, everything falls apart. It's not about government checks or welfare. It's the nuclear family. The nuclear family is a guarantor more than anything else that a kid is going to.
And I 100% agree with that.
Right. So we have to figure out then, it's a riddle. I think I know the answer. Why so many Black youth do not have dads around.
I personally think the answer is more convoluted than that. I think it's a bit muddled. I think going forward, there's going to be an upward progression in that area. I have to look at the numbers, and I'll come back to you with some better statistics.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thanks for your good-hearted question.
Wow, this is quite an argument. Are we actually a victim of our choices and not our circumstances? Sometimes you have to make a tough decision to leave your relationship because you're unsafe, because you don't feel you are loved, because you don't feel secure anymore in the relationship. Something might have happened for you to push you out of this place you are, or to push you out of the relationship you are. Being a victim of your choice, yes, sometimes we're also a victim of our choices in life. But concerning being a baby mama or daddy, sometimes it's more of circumstances. Most men are actually afraid of commitment. Most ladies now are also afraid of commitment. They just prefer to be a single mom or dad. And because you're a single mom or dad doesn't mean your child will not end up well. There are so many good single moms out there and single dads out there that have raised good and genuine kids. What's your thought about this? I feel this was quite a meaningful dialogue and a peaceful one. When it comes to indoctrination in the Black homes, I think we don't actually prioritize family. You may be in a relationship where your partner does not prioritize your happiness, your partner is not in support of what you do, your partner does not love you. You kind of just want to leave that relationship, and that's why so many people end up having a divorce in their marriage. So many things happen, and sometimes people are just scared of commitment. They don't just want to have a settled home, they just want to have a child and walk away, you know. So many things actually happen. I kind of strongly believe that this actually literally comes all the way down to our individual choices in life, our circumstances in life. We find ourselves in a tough one, and you know, there is nothing much we can do. You just have to move on with your life and carry on, either being black or white. What's your thought about this?